Good morning, I'm Julio Saenz along with Mauricio Riveros. Today we'll hear from Jim Goldman Ginger and how he turned his passion into a thriving business.
We hope you will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community, we'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Jim, thank you very much for being in Be Inspired, a show that we designed to inspire our community, that if you have a great idea, an initiative or passion, you can start your business. And you represent that. But before we go there, let's start to telling us, who is Jim?
Who is Jim? Jim is definitely an outside-the-box thinker who's been an individual all his life. Starting from the age 13, 14, I expressed myself with art and individuality, and I've just continued to do that. I think every day that I wake up, I try to be a little bit different and a little bit more accepting, and I try to open my eyes to new things that are out there and other people that inspire me.
And so let's talk about this business that you just started. What motivated and what is your business about?
Well, I've been an artist for 20 years. I've always done murals or painted or done canvases or even tattoos. I've always been an artist and I've always been involved in art, and this is just a way of me expressing myself. When I was very young, I got into skateboarding, and it was in the 90s when people weren't exactly accepting like they are now. So times were a bit different and I was a bit of an outcast. And this whole road of skating led me to be part of a community and have more friends than I could ever imagine, and people that are very accepting of who you are as a human being. So I decided one day that I wanted to try to affect the community a little bit and try to bring something back as I started to get a little older. I'm 40 years old. I know that's still very young, but I wanted to do something, I guess. And I was making stickers and doing some different things with art, but nothing that really played out to the hands of people to where they could hold it and touch it and have it on a long term. So I just wanted to, I don't know, express myself and do some cool art and give back to the community. I have a great group of people that support me. Josh Gillette, part of Rad Skateboarding. They've been around for, I want to say 10 years, producing skateboards and different art and clothing. There is a bunch of great people that have helped me build the skate shop and give me guidance to who to go to have things produced, like textiles and the actual boards themselves.
And so your store sells skateboards and clothing?
We have skateboarding, we have clothing, we have everything that goes along with the skateboarding culture. We have a clothing company called Pure Salt that is out of Brockport, Rad Skateboarding, which is out of Brockport, and then we have a skateboard coalition where we're trying to get money to fix the Brockport skate park up. It's been a long time since it's had a refacing, so we're involved with that too.
So tell me a little bit more about the insight of what is that definition of the culture of being with the skate and really your focus market, what community you want to outreach. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So what's awesome with skateboarding now is that everybody is part of it. Your football player, your 8-year-old kid, everybody from all walks of life is part of skateboarding now. And I think that is awesome because it's really opened the doors up. Years ago, like I said, it was very tiny, and then it exploded in the early 2000s. The culture is just people that want to have a good time, and they get together, and we have cookouts or something, and we go to the skate park, and we just skate and just have fun. And it's not about doing tricks or being going off of stairs. It's just about sometimes pushing the board around, you know what I mean? Or going down a hill, or just having fun with friends, you know what I mean? After work or after school. I still push around. I don't really do any tricks. But the skateboarding community is accepting of that. It's all about pushing your own limits, okay? So you start rolling on the board and then you try a trick, but it's all about progression. It's all about pushing your limits, and it's all about what you can do. You know, these kids, sometimes they'll go on a rail, they'll fall 100 times. They'll keep on getting back up. Their perseverance is absolutely amazing. And that perseverance carries with them throughout life. These kids do not give up on what they do. You see kids that are skateboarding and they get into it and they're driven. They really go on to be things, and it's kind of wild, you know, because they're very independent, very outspoken, and they push through anything.
And you mentioned the variety of folks that are into skating now, and I myself have seen people skateboarding all over the city, the inner city, the suburbs, everywhere. Do you have a specific age range that you see comes into the store, or is it?
It's amazing. From 8 years old to 50 years old, they come in and they talk. And you know, I get these guys that, you know, there's a teacher from the Brockport school, and he skates half pipe, he skates the bowls, you know, the old pools, and he still gets down. He's gnarly, you know, and I think he's around 50, 51. And I get young guys that are 22 years old, and you know, the crazy thing to me, and this is wild, right? So when I was younger, we didn't have YouTube. So we had a VHS player, and you'd have to shove the VHS tape in, and you have to put it on slow-mo, and you watch the guy's feet on the board, and you watch it over and over again, and you go try it. Well, these 8 and 9-year-olds are amazing because of these tutorials on YouTube. They teach them everything about skating. You know, this is where you put your foot. This is what you do to do this trick. This is how you want to land it. So I go to the skate park and I see kids that are 9, 10 years old that are way better than I ever was. And I skated for, I don't know, from like 1987 till 2006. And then I just pushed around, like I said. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, it's incredible, right? The transformation and all that. But now you started a business. And,
yes.
And being in business, I love the passion. I love the focus. But you are a for-profit organization that needs to make the financial targets and the structure. And what was your experience of dealing with all those other things that are, you know, it's kind of like start hitting reality. It's like, okay, that's the reality. We need to make these goals. We need to, you know, have a business plan. We need to register. We have a lot of these liabilities, insurance, all that. What was your experience to navigate through all those things?
What's crazy with this is that I didn't care. I said I was going to take it head on, whatever got in my way. I just tried to knock it down. I did it very loosely. I mean, I did my research on the internet, but I remember sitting with my mom and I was telling her, Mom, I'm starting a skate shop at 40. And she's telling me about profit. And I said, you know, profit is nice, but I like art. I'm an artist. So hopefully the profit comes. And I can tell you, when I opened it up, it's unimaginable how much support I actually got for it. I didn't think we were going to be busy. I thought, you know, at least for the first year, I was going to lose a lot of money. You know, they always say that, right? You start a business, the first year you lose money. And then here comes this overwhelming support for me. And all these kids from all over, you know, from 100 miles around radius for my first day, came in and just bought everything in the shop. I mean, really, it was nuts. I had to do this huge order my first week. And every week it's consistently stayed the same. And I'm not sure if it's because there's only a few small independent skate shops in Rochester, Crudco and Old Skull, and they're awesome. But I think that there's nothing kind of out that way in Monroe County. And it also borders up against Orleans as well. And I think that that is the initial motivator, that they're just really excited to have something out there that supports what they do finally.
Fantastic. Now, I grew up, part of my childhood in Florida, and lots of people skating and everything. Rochester's very different weather-wise.
It is.
What months can you skate in Rochester?
I mean, you can go all the way to December. It's cold, but once it starts snowing, I love motorcycles. I'm huge into motorcycles, so it's the same. As soon as it starts snowing, I put the bike away and I put the skateboard away. But we're trying to change that. I'm looking for, and this might be a plug, but I'm looking for a 1,000 to 3,000 square foot indoor space, concrete, to rent in the area of Brockport, so that these kids in the wintertime have somewhere to go. There is a place, but it's a little far away. The other plug, Breaking Free, Rochester, awesome skate park. but we want something more for the locals and the people that are more out there, so they don't have to drive, you know, because when it snows and it's bad, it's a long trip, you know. So if we could give something 10 minutes away so that people could come use it, I think it would be a benefit, because like you said, as far as winter in Rochester is concerned, it's nothing like Southern California or Florida.
Well, thank you, Jim. We'll be back with more after these messages.
Canadian maple American.
And this is the beauty, right? Because this has identity. You can go to, you know, Walmart and buy something, but this is this has a personality. This has, you know, this brings all the type of value. And that's the beauty.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah, love it. And it's so interesting to see this next generation, right? Of course, older people want to do this too, but let's talk about the young generation. You know, one of the concerns as a parent was always, as a father, was, hey, they will go and play games, video games, and all these things. But it's exciting to see young people interested to start using skates, go back in the streets, go and play outside. Is this something that you are seeing change, and how technology connect with this now? Because the fear is also they start with their phone and now start texting or something. So how technology connect with your business, and what's the alternative? What's happening there?
Well, it's kind of funny that you mention that, because more and more young people seem to be getting more and more screen time and less active time. I talked to it with the 22-year-olds and the 24-year-olds, and I asked their opinion on it. You know, how come we're not seeing it, or why isn't there more of it? And they say, well, we're afraid our whole generation, you know, is going to be non-outside people or something along those lines. But you're right, it has affected it. You know, it's affected it in every aspect, all the way from school sports, like high school sports, to skateboarding. Skateboarding is going to be in the Olympics this upcoming year, along with surfing and possibly breakdancing. I know they were trying to put that in there, but definitely surfing and skateboarding. Hopefully that'll make a difference. Hopefully we'll see more people see skateboarders on the Olympics and decide, I want to skateboard.
And I know I've lived in areas where I believe skateboarding wasn't even allowed on the sidewalks. How is the atmosphere in Rochester and Monroe County for skating outside? Are there laws against it or anything?
It's gotten better. I know in Brockport, on Main Street, it was banned up until 2003. In Rochester and in Brockport, I got a lot of my boards taken as a child. They were a $100 investment, and sometimes they just got taken for skating in the wrong area. It's more legal now than it used to be. It's more accepted than it used to be. We would get yelled at a lot for skating, and now people kind of just, you know, oh, it's just a skateboarder. And I'm very glad. It's neat.
The basic skateboard, you know, didn't really change too much.
It hasn't.
Right? Do you see any elements of innovation coming? There is something exciting, different that is happening with the products that you are selling. So tell us a little bit about that.
So up until like 1989, essentially they were just single tail boards. Around 88, 89, they started making what's called a double tail, but it was much wider. And then they turned it into this in about 91, 92, maybe 93. It was a popsicle, they call it popsicle board. It was so wild when I was getting the different advertisements as a kid to see the change, and that's really what brought me back into it around 91 was, oh, there's these new shapes, these guys are doing all these flip tricks, and the wheels were really, really tiny, like really tiny. So they haven't changed really since like 94, 95. They've kind of stayed the same. There was a guy named Rodney Mullen who was a freestyle skater, and he was really, really good, and he started to street skate, and he rode on smaller boards like this. And I still believe that this is the reason why these exist, is because of Rodney Mullen and the way he skated. And it just it just clicked. You know, things have changed, like the wheels have gotten bigger. The boards have gotten a little bit wider because they were skating 7.75 as far as width, and now they're skating mostly 8.25 to 8.5, it seems. But there hasn't been that many innovations. You know what I mean? The trucks have been the same since the 70s. The urethane wheels have been the same since the 80s. But yet the kids innovate the tricks with the boards. You know, there's always something new being done, or always something crazy, and they're always inventing. You know, I did this such and such, you know, and you're on YouTube going, how did he do that? There's a guy who does like, you know, he jumps off buildings and stuff. His name is Jaws. I wonder why, you know, but he goes, I think he did like 25 stairs in Sierra Leone, and it's on YouTube. He did it years ago, but it was just wild to see him. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Now, I think hopefully there's people watching the show and they can see the passion that we see in you that you have for this business, and they can think of something that they're equally passionate about that they could launch into a business. What advice would you give to those folks watching right now? You've been in business now, you know, a few months now. What are your lessons learned that you would share with them?
Well, throughout my life, I've always tried to find things that I like and run with them. I've done a lot of different things, you know what I mean? I've done a lot of different things as far as art and creativity. And I would say, run with it as fast as you can. You know what I mean? If you find something that you like, and you may not have $1 to your name, okay? There is some way to get that going. You know, even if it's on the weekends, even if you have to like try to find somebody maybe to borrow some money, but don't let anybody stand in your way, I guess. You know, don't do anything bad to get what you have to do, but also don't let people stand in your way, and don't listen to the person who says, you know, everything's online nowadays. Nobody opens up a retail store, or, you know, any of the naysayers, you know. Just block them out, because people are inherently on the defense as human beings. And I think we should all try to live more on the offense of life and stop being so defensive about everything and scared about things, and, you know, try to enjoy everything and breathe.
Fantastic advice.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful. And I personally believe that you just touch a very important point of business, is that if you have that clear passion, the rest usually comes together.
It does.
And it's incredible, right? So you will have clients, people will see that you really love what you do, and it's just an attraction that happens, right?
You have to love it. You have to love what you do, because if you love what you do and you do it every day, it's not working. And that is the God's honest truth. Every day I wake up, I don't feel like I work with this. I feel like I'm doing something fun. I get to draw. I get to make new stickers, new skateboards, new t-shirts, some wheels pretty soon with the jaded graphic on them, some trucks with the jaded graphic, and just power through it.
Amazing. And if you were to say you had one blind spot before starting this business that you've since realized that you have, what would that be? Business-wise.
The cost of things. I don't think people understand the amount of money that things cost when initial investing in something. That's why I say sometimes you have to take it on the weekend. Find maybe a store to carry your product, talk to some business owners, because maybe somebody will carry your design or your t-shirt or your whatever in their store to start off very small, and, you know, work on those baby steps, because it's you know, like, oh, I want to, you know, print 50 skateboards, and then you hear the cost and you're like, you know, you're doing the margin, and whew, you know, it all works out in the end, but the initial investment can be tough, and that was a real shocker to me. You know, I'm like, you think you're hemorrhaging money a little bit, you know what they say, oh, I'm hemorrhaging money to get this going. And it's tough, it really is tough seeing that checkbook and, you know, writing those checks to different companies and adding it all up. That's the tough part, you know. Unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees, unless you're in California.
Jim, what an honor to have you. I'm sure that we will have you in future programs, seeing the great success of your organization. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time and being with us.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Coming up next week on Be Inspired, we'll meet Pamela O'Berry and learn about the thriving business she's built in her own home. To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/beinspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Poder 97.1, Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.